I am big. I am so big. I am big. I am so big. I am big. I am so big. I am big. I am so big.
In the expansive ice-clad wilds of HowlStrom, a realm perpetually bathed in the twilight of the far north and adorned with the celestial ballot of the auroras, the legend of Kiba Snowpaw begins to unfold. It's a tale rich with the essence of betrayal, the strength of resilience, and a steadfast quest to defy the chains of fate. Kiba was born to the noble Ice Wolf clan, a lineage celebrated throughout the kingdom for their unparalleled mastery of ice magic and their invincible courage. However, Kiba stood out as an enigma against their esteemed heritage. By the age of 10, it was customary for members of his clan to display a remarkable command over ice magic, having the power to manipulate blizzards at their whim, carve out glaciers with the faintest of whispers, and beckon frost to twirl around their fingers. In stark contrast, Kiba's magical potential shone weakly, a mere ember lost within an inferno, making him nearly invisible in a society that placed ultimate value on strength and power. This discrepancy thrust Kiba into a world filled with derision and contempt. His peers, who were flourishing in their magical prowess, viewed him not as kin but as a stain on the clan's distinguished legacy. The bullying was relentless, with each mockery and insult cutting deep into his soul, transforming every moment into a struggle for survival. Kiba's existence became defined by a deep-seated fear and isolation that slowly consumed him, yet it also tempered his spirit, creating a resolve as formidable and unwavering as the ice he yearned to command. The pivotal moment in Kiba's saga was his banishment, a verdict handed down with chilling apathy by those he once considered kin. Thrust into the unforgiving clutches of HowlStrom's wilderness, Kiba found himself in solitude, accompanied only by the ghosts of past humiliations and the relentless cold that had been his perennial ally. This expulsion from the Ice Wolf clan was not just a banishment from his home, but a deep emotional rift that seemed to engulf him completely. However, it was within this crucible of solitude and despair that the true essence of Kiba's strength began to emerge. With every step into the uncharted wilds, each night under the expansive, starry heavens, Kiba's determination solidified. The agony of his previous experiences, though indelible, now fueled his ambition. He swore to not only endure but to flourish, to transform himself into a figure of myth and legend. He aspired to return to his homeland, not as an outcast but as a vanquisher. His ambition evolved beyond mere acceptance to dominate as the Alpha, embodying the zenith of authority and esteem, a name to be uttered with fear and admiration. This pledge transcended the bounds of simple hope. It was a sacred commitment to himself, and a testament to every disparagement and wound he had suffered. Kiba Snowpaw was destined not just to conquer the ice that once mocked him but to become the incarnation of endurance and might. He would forge a new pack, united not by lineage but by unwavering fidelity, a true family that would confront any challenge together. Within the heart of HowlStrom's merciless wilderness, under the ceaseless fall of snow and against the backdrop of the wind's eternal lament, began the ascent of Kiba Snowpaw from an outcast to a legend. Every hardship surmounted and every obstacle encountered was a step in shaping a new fate for him, a symbol of hope and resilience for the forsaken, embodying the unbreakable spirit dwelling within. HowlStrom, a land of enigmas and wonders, stood on the brink of witnessing the emergence of a new Alpha, one poised to transform the ideals of power and leadership amidst the frozen dominions of the Ice Wolves. In the relentless embrace of HowlStrom, where perpetual winter claims dominion and the wild serves as the arena for the mightiest, Kiba Snowpaw etched his journey across the realm, a solitary figure in a dogged pursuit of might and a place to belong. Each mark upon his fur narrated a saga of endurance, of conflicts waged not solely against nature and its ferocious denizens, but against a fate that once sought to confine him to his early weaknesses. Navigating the formidable landscapes of HowlStrom, from its soaring, ice-capped summits reaching for the skies to its deep, silent woods echoing with the legends of yore, Kiba's command over ice magic transcended mere proficiency, becoming a spectacle of grace and potency. His magic diverged from the raw, forceful approaches of his kin, evolving instead into a ballet of frost, a harmonious force he maneuvered with finesse and ingenuity. Kiba's sorcery didn't merely freeze. It reshaped the essence of winter into armaments and companions. He summoned tempests that bewildered and ensnared foes, forged ice spears gleaming with lethal allure, and erected barriers of frost to deflect onslaughts. His magic became his testament, broadcasting his odyssey, his trials, and his unyielding resolve to the world. A pivotal moment in Kiba Snowpaw's odyssey unfolded in a confrontation that could have been ripped from the pages of ancient lore against a colossal bear twisted by sinister sorcery. This malign force had darkened its fur to the shade of midnight and set its gaze ablaze with a hellish red. The creature, a harbinger of devastation, had laid waste to vast swaths of HowlStrom, and its trail of destruction inevitably led it to Kiba. Their clash was a maelstrom of rage and frost, with Kiba dancing through the behemoth's assaults with unparalleled agility, his arcane frost abilities colliding with the bear's vile power. Each dodge and calculated riposte not only showcased Kiba's evolving tactical acumen, but also deepened his comprehension of his burgeoning capabilities. The battle's zenith saw Kiba conjuring a lance of the purest ice, charged with the ethereal glow of the auroras, and with a battle cry that echoed the spirits of warriors past, he thrust it into the core of corruption, sealing the monster's fate and cementing his own legacy. Yet, for all his triumphs and the dread he inspired among adversaries, a void of isolation shadowed Kiba's victories. His odyssey led him across the diverse terrains of HowlStrom, every location weaving into his story, each conflict a stride toward a grander destiny. His quest was not solely for validation of his might, but for a sanctuary, a community that looked past the scars and the saga of his journey. Kiba's narrative became a beacon for the axiom that true strength is not innate but cultivated, shaped in the crucible of hardship and the cold front of ostracism. His abilities, once dismissed as inadequate, had evolved into a dominion over which even the forces of nature bowed. Yet within his heart was a longing for connection, for a clan that would rally beside him not in trepidation or admiration, but with genuine respect and fellowship. As Kiba Snowpaw pressed on, each stride was a quest for sanctuary, a haven where he could unload the ghosts of yesteryears and gaze into a horizon where his identity transcended the confines of mere warfare, molding into that of a chieftain, an alpha who would govern not with despotism, but through the might of collective resolve and the unexpected warmth that kindles within the frostiest of spirits. His epic was an unfolding chronicle, penned with every drift of snow, every confrontation, and each solemn pause under HowlStrom's oral canopy. In his undying quest for a realm of acceptance, Kiba stumbled upon a gathering that grotesquely reflected the very tyranny he had forsaken. This faction was bound under the despotic rule of an alpha whose strength was as formidable as his ruthlessness, a colossus of a wolf whose sinews were like raw iron and whose eyes shimmered with a sinister gleam. This tyrant wielded control not as a leader, but as a conqueror, viewing his pack not as kin but as pawns to fulfill his insatiable greed and caprices. His governance was one of subjugation, reducing his followers to mere chattels for his exploitation. The initial confrontation between Kiba and this dominion was a fierce collision of philosophies. Kiba, whose soul still smoldered with the anguish of his clan's dismissal and maltreatment, perceived in this alpha the incarnation of every oppressor he had ever contended with. The alpha's haughtiness, his unshakable belief in his own supremacy, kindled a blaze of indignation within Kiba. This was more than a battle. It was an imperative to amend a fundamental injustice, an opportunity to dethrone a despot who fancied himself a deity among wolves. Memories of past humiliations at the hands of his own clan ignited Kiba's determination anew. The sight of oppression under a cruel hand stirred a deep-seated refusal within him to remain a bystander in the face of tyranny. A challenge was declared, a duel to the death that would either emancipate the pack from its agony or shackle it to eternal subjugation. The ensuing conflict was a saga of monumental proportions, a duel that could easily belong in the annals of HowlStrom's storied past. The overconfident tyrant alpha, relying on his sheer physical prowess, was blindsided by Kiba's finesse and battle-hardened skills, forged in countless encounters with HowlStrom's deadliest predators. Kiba's command of ice magic, a primal force in its own right, was unleashed with a precision and imagination that left the alpha bewildered. The clash was a whirlwind of elemental fury, where ice met tooth in a lethal ballet. Despite the raw intensity of the fray, Kiba navigated the tumult with a grace that masked the high stakes of their confrontation. Every move he made was deliberate, every strike meticulously planned. The alpha, despite his formidable strength, was gradually overpowered by Kiba's nimbleness and strategic acumen. With each moment, Kiba's supremacy in the battle was increasingly undeniable, his mastery over the ice, a clear sign of his superior will and prowess. The coup de grace was delivered with a blend of sheer force and elegance. Kiba harnessed the essence of the most severe winters, focusing his arcane energies into a spear of crystalline ice that found its mark in the tyrant's heart. The Alpha's downfall was met with a profound silence, a collective gasp of disbelief at the overthrow of such a formidable foe. In the battle's wake, Kiba emerged not as a conqueror thirsting for domination, but as a savior. The pack, liberated from the clutches of their former ruler, beheld in Kiba a figure not just of unmatched martial might, but of genuine leadership and moral fiber. His triumph was not a quest for personal aggrandizement, but a fight for justice and the welfare of the oppressed. Elevated to the position of Alpha, Kiba pledged to govern with the benevolence and insight he had longed for. His rule became a beacon of hope, transforming the once subjugated pack into a cohesive unit, fortified by mutual respect and fidelity. With Kiba at the helm, the pack thrived, standing as a testament to unity and endurance in the unforgiving environs of HowlStrom. Mending the shattered spirits and mending the trust within his new pack required all of Kiba Snowpaw's patience, sagacity, and strength. The damage inflicted by the previous Alpha had left wounds not only on the flesh of the pack members, but also deep within their collective soul. Kiba knew his fight extended beyond the physical dangers of HowlStrom's wilderness. He battled against the lingering specters of oppression and maltreatment that cast long shadows over his pack's heart. Winning their trust was an endeavor of epic proportions. Kiba devoted himself to proving that his rule was a departure from the tyranny of the past, heralding an era of respect, honor, and mutual support. He introduced a novel creed of loyalty, emphasizing it as a mutual bond of upliftment rather than mere blind submission. His vision of a pack, where valor was judged not by brute strength but by the bravery to protect and support each other, was groundbreaking. Protecting his pack from the myriad perils of their realm while healing their internal scars left Kiba with scant moments of respite. Each day unfurled new trials, from defending their territory against other formidable beings to soothing the internal strife that demanded a gentle yet firm touch. His mantle as Alpha consumed him, necessitating unwavering commitment to the welfare and security of his pack. Despite the reverence and esteem he garnered, Kiba often found himself ensnared in solitude's cold embrace. The mantle of leadership, for all its privileges, isolated him, paradoxically drawing him closer to yet setting him apart from his pack. His search for companionship was nuanced. Beyond mere admiration, Kiba sought a counterpart who could meet him on equal footing. His bisexuality opened his heart to the prospect of finding this bond with a soul capable of matching his vigor, challenging his intellect, and sharing in his deepest desires and vulnerabilities. However, this openness only accentuated his isolation, as finding such a companion in the aftermath of a pack's healing proved daunting. In his quest to empower his pack, Kiba also focused on those with latent ice magic abilities. He championed the belief that true strength resided not in the raw force of one's magic, but in the creativity and resolve with which it was employed. Kiba mentored them, teaching that the faintest glimmer of magic could ignite into a formidable force when fostered with dedication and wisdom. His guidance transcended mere power, embedding a sense of purpose and dignity in his pack, enabling them to stand not only as warriors, but as foundational figures of their rejuvenated community. Kiba's reign was a lighthouse of hope, elevating the pack from its dismal past to a powerhouse of unity and mutual respect. Yet his journey was a solitary one, haunted by the silent wish for a confidante and equal, a fellow beacon amidst the ceaseless gloom of his duties. Amidst his achievements, the shadow of solitude lingered, but Kiba's determination remained unshaken. He persevered in leadership, in battle, and in his aspirations, driven by the dream of a pack unbreakable in the face of adversity. Saga stood as a tribute to the enduring might of empathetic governance, the healing power of understanding leadership, and the unending search for a connection that pierces the veil of the physical to touch the essence of what it means to truly belong.